Hey, hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for coming to join us today. Um, we are very excited to have Ed, and Edu speaking with us today as part of the VIA Social Impact Leadership Accelerator Speaker Series. They are striving to reduce the education quality gap in Thailand by finding smaller scale solutions to bring opportunities to rural communities and other communities that need support. My name is Carrie. I'm going to be helping moderating the event today. I am a coordinator for the Social Impact Leadership Accelerator program, along with my co-coordinator, Hannah. And I've had the pleasure of working with Ed, and Edu for the past 6 months. So I'm gonna pass it to Hannah to introduce herself.
Thank you, Carrie. Welcome, everybody. Like Carrie said, my name is Hannah. I am also a coordinator with the Social Impact Leadership Accelerator program, and I've had the immense pleasure of working with Carrie, Wynn, and Shane, as well as one of our teams from Myanmar, Team Mandalay. I'll also introduce VIA, though I think we all know VIA pretty well. Nevertheless, VIA is a nonprofit dedicated to promoting cross-cultural understanding across the US and Asia, and an excellent community to be a part of. With that, I'm going to hand it back to Carrie.
So we are very excited to welcome Shane and Wen today. They are community leaders in Thailand who are making their vision for social impact a reality as part of VIA's Accelerator program. First, we will have a presentation by the team, and then afterwards, there will be an opportunity for question and answers. For any questions you would like to ask to hold on to for the question and answer session, you can feel free to directly message Hannah Sorensen, or if you would like, you can wait until the end of the presentation to ask your questions. So with that, we'll now pass it on to Wynn and Shane.
All right. Welcome, guys. Good evening, good morning, everyone. So we are Ed, and Edu. So Ed, and Edu stands for, of course, education, and Shane loves Ed Sheeran. And initially, there were three of us, which is me, Shane, and Bob. But Bob is kind of like our schedule didn't really work well, so he has to hop off the project. But anyway, we still continue until the end. So next slide, please, Hannah. Okay, thank you. So we're gonna first start with the introduction, and which is us introducing ourselves, and then states our problems, and then leads to the project and model that we come up with, and which we've been working on. And for the conclusion, we're gonna have like the track as and the timeline as how far we did and how far are we right now, and of course for the future model as well. And in the end, you're gonna have a chance to ask us some questions. So if you have any questions right now, you can just note it down or send to Hannah. Okay. Team introduction. So it's me, Win, and Shane. You wanna introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Shane. I was via cohort. Like I went to via BSI 2 years ago, and that's how I knew via and started to get more interest in social problem. And in Thailand, there's like a lot of problem in education, and Win is like my close friend, and we also share some similar interests, and that's how we started this project. Please continue, Win.
Okay, so as Shane said, we were classmates during 10th grade. So in our high school, we only have, of course, only three years. Like unlike other school, they have like 6 levels of education, but we only have high school. So in order to get into this high school, we need to pass the entrance exam, which is I think it's considered one of the most competitive high school in order to get into it. But once you get into it, everyone say we can attend to any university. But I mean, but that's is the problem, right? Because there are only few high school that offer you a dream like this. But in the rural area that we want to uh, we want to improve their education standard to to give them opportunity to get into a good university as well. And it's not only uh, it's not only university in Thailand, but our high school also offer opportunities to like they provide us a lot of resources to to get scholarships to study abroad and other many opportunities. But I also want that to be offered to everyone as well. So so that's why we create this project in the first place. So that was our problem. Okay, thank you. So the first problem is the teacher shortage. Of course, I'm gonna start with private school first. In private school, of course, we have so many teachers. Like all the teachers, they really want to get into private school because it pays well, and you have a really good community. Like everyone shares resources, materials, and like basically they have like a community in their own school, right? It's like an ecosystem, like with student, they got feedback, and that's what I really want to see in public school as well. So teacher shortage is actually one of the crucial problem for our project, which is like in rural area, uh sometimes they only have like few teachers per school, which is really shocking for me. Like when I learned this for the first time, uh, and for the whole school, they probably have like hundreds or 200 students, but only few teachers. And of course, these hundreds and 200s, um, they're not on the same grade, right? They varies. Like they in in like 12 levels, and these few teachers, they have to teach all the levels, all the subjects, which is it's really impossible for them to do it. Like I can't even imagine it myself, and that of course gonna affect the quality of education they receive in short term and long term as well. And these teachers, uh, they probably can't prepare every student for the standardized test for for even for high school admission, like me and Shane did. And of course the most major is university entrance. So for our university entrance exam, we kind of have like something like SAT, but it's various for so if you want to get into this major, you have to take these particular tests. But like if teacher cannot offer these informations and student didn't really know that they exist in the first place, then they don't even get a chance to even try to get into those majors uh, and university. So that's one thing. And the second thing is material shortage. This is what we really want to solve this teacher shortage by giving them by offer them a help to just you know give the material that other teachers has proved that it works with their students. And of course these materials can be various as well, like uh, depending on how high the level of students, like how fast they can learn. If they're slow, if they are slow learner, they should take this material. Or if they're fast learner, you give this material to them to like in order to optimize your classroom. And And for the textbook of Ministry of Education, of course, is all required for all the schools, public school and private school as well. But let me start with the private school first. So private school, as I said earlier, they have so many teachers, right? And they have like faculty to work on their own textbook, so they come up with their own textbook, but based on the Ministry of Education. But the thing is, though, how about the public school? So public school, they have to use these textbooks from Ministry of Education, but they are written in a way that is too difficult for students to understand, and even teachers as well. Like, so this become a burden, right? So you can't just give this textbook to student to do like reading assignments because they can't understand it. It's just too hard and too much of material for student to differentiate what to read or what not to read, what to remember or what not to remember. So it becomes like a burden for teacher and students, like in both way. It's not gonna work. So this is how we come up with this solution, to give the material that already been digested by so many teachers and has proved that is effective. Um, so the last one is ineffective public education. As I said earlier about private school, they they all have materials, right? But even then, these students are students that have money, and they also go to cram school. They even get more competitive in their school. And and what about public school? Like those students, they don't go to cram school, they don't go to tutoring, and their school didn't teach well, right? So this is a problem. Like they don't get enough practice for entrance exam, and for every other test, even in their school. So yeah, this is a problem, and it is an indicator that that been has been a ride for like so many years already. Like everyone goes to tutoring, but not everyone has the finance to do that. So Hannah, yeah, thank you. So this is just some infographic about more and more students in Bangkok majoring and outside enrolling in tutoring, showing that public schools do not provide enough high quality education. So I think it's just a sign that shows to Ministry of Education that they have to do something about this. So training teachers, of course, that's the long-term goal. We need to do that. We need good. We need high-quality teachers, um, and teachers who really want to be teachers, not just anyone who can't get into their major and choose teaching as alternative. So of course we still need more teachers, but right now as a short-term goal, we need something that is an alternative for public school student, to replace tutoring, and to be able to put on to at least just at least they can fight, like into into their dream university and major. So uh so according to PISA, in 2018 report, schools in Thailand has a significant bigger gap than average in staff shortage as well as material shortage, and that is one of the factors uh, that explain why are we thinking like this and why we come up with this model. So our project statement and objective, of course, we wanna uh, not widen the gap. We want to smaller the gap, and yeah, just give them opportunities to learn more and give higher standard of education. So we talk about cram school. If public school, no, if private school is that good, why are they even get to why they even go to cram school if the material is so good already, right? So no, it's not good enough for them because they want to be the best in their school, and this community, this environment is what I'm hoping for to happen in public school as well. So not just you go to school every day and learn. I mean, of course, that's the plan for school, right? But the real world is that if you want to get into good university, I mean, this is a choice as well. Like you don't have to do this, but I'm just offering for those who really want to get into good university and want to try what it takes to get into those without having financial support from their family. So um, so I kind of think that we should know about the comparison between tutoring center, private school, and public school. So as I said earlier, like tutoring center, they give more competition, right? In our school. So the reason is that those tutors have some kind of achievement in the past, like they probably like rank one, getting into this university or getting into this major. They have passed these already, all these. They all have experiences in this, competitive scene and stuff. So they kind of be able to give more to the students, unlike teachers, right? Like teacher, of course, they pass. Um, they have experienced those as well, but tutor, they have like a tips and tricks, like a shortcut for student to learn faster and study less but learn faster. So yeah, because I mean, me and Jen, of course, have been to tutoring center as well, because as I said, our high school is really competitive, but I didn't go that much, unlike my friend. Like some of my friends, they go like every day. They even skip school to go to cram school, which is kind of crazy. um, yeah, for private school, they hire teacher with higher education level and higher GPA and teaching license. For public school, they mostly assigned by Ministry of Education, so they can't really choose because I mean, if it's public school in a major city, like in a in a main city, so uh, those teacher usually just kind of like went back to their hometown to like improve, and they want to teach. Um, but those in like rural areas, they can't really choose, and they have to volunteer, right? Or either volunteer or assigned by Ministry of Education. But either way, it's not going to be good because they can't compete with the private school and tutoring center in terms of instructors. As for the resources, tutoring center, they have seen so many materials already. Not only textbook from Ministry of Education, but they did a lot of research and to be able to come up with a shortcut to uh, to 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 reduce the burden on them as well, so they don't have to teach much because the class is going to be like only 1 or 2 hours only, and it lasts only like few weeks, right? Only like a month or 2 months. but school they last like a year. But this tutoring they can do it. They can shot it into like 1 month or 2 months. So I think that is already a solution that they come up with, and I want to use that solution, but free of price. So private school, as I say, they develop their own textbooks and curriculum. So what I really want to see in the future is that, of course, it's not only the material, but the classwork, like the coursework, like you go to field trip or something like that, and you make student happier to learn, like like happy to learn, not like forced to learn. Because that's what I felt too when I was in high school. Like I love to go to like um to places to learn, like science museum, to see the real stuff, like not only like equations on the paper. It's not fun, right? So the class size, tutoring center has proved that bigger ratio, teachers and student ratio, is not a problem. Sometimes they teach through videos, right, and online maybe sometimes. And of course uh for rich student, they can do like private tutoring, like smaller groups, like 2 to 4, or even even 1 to 1, but up to 100, like 1 to 100, which is crazy. So they have like a room, like a live room. So they are in the same room as a tutor, but then there are 3 more rooms that like give a live stream to those rooms, and students just sit in those. So yeah, so I mean, just the material itself, only the material that matters, not about the ratio. Like, yeah. So private school and public school, they probably have the same teacher and student ratio, but depending on what kind of public schooling and where they're located. So 1 to 100, 1 to 200, sometimes could be. And teacher incomes is what attracts teachers to teach. So tutoring, if as an example that I told you before, like one live room and then like 3 more. Of course, they earn a lot of money. Like I even so I'm kind of close to some of the famous tutor. So this is how it got started. So I asked them if I can get their old material to use and to share to other students, and they say it's fine because they're working on new materials every year to be updated, right? But even the old material, I find it very, very effective to teach students as well. Okay, so we have learned all the situations in Thailand. I mean, not only in Thailand. Like, I'm pretty sure it happens in Korea as well, in China, in all other countries in Asia, and even in the state, they start to come up. Like you can see, like like Kumong and Eureka, and yeah. So let's get to breakout rooms. All right. So for our group, we have talked about the first questions about tutoring and why they exist. So the first thing is the teacher salary is too low to even cover the living expenses, and so and teachers offer extra courses to help students catch up on course content that they couldn't cover in class, or to give more in-depth information. So that is also a problem, because those teachers might favor a student that takes extra classes with them, and like about the grade and stuff. So that's a problem as well. And wealthy but their parents want to give their children an edge. Yeah, of course, like they all have high expectation on their kids, and this is how they want to show their support. But um, yeah, and for the second questions, what is the most sustainable way to reduce this gap? As we talked about the first question, right? Like we come up with the problem. One thing is salary. Like if we increase the salary for the teachers, then this tutoring might not even exist as well, because those tutor might even apply to private school or public school to teach if they get offered by like a big amount of money. So that's it for my group. Uh, Hannah, do you want to talk about another group?
Yeah, we heard a lot about different people's experiences with test prep at college and the graduate level as well as the high school level in a variety of different countries. We talked also about like the possibility of online recorded lessons in tutoring. So I took notes for you guys, so you can keep those forever. But yeah, very interesting conversation, and thank you to the lovely folks who participated. Shall we go back to the PowerPoint?
Okay, so so the reason why I put you guys into the breakout rooms is because I want to reflect for other countries as well, like different perspective. It's not this model not only works for Thailand only, but you can apply to other projects in different countries. Depending on the situation, you can adjust a little bit. But this is what we came up with. So Ministry of Education, basically they provide all the resources to all the schools in a country, right? But if they don't, then that's gonna be a problem, because like that's why we even exist in the first place. Like because the Ministry of Education, they don't even do anything like except for giving those textbooks and money. But even those textbook, they don't even revise it. Like they use the same edition for I don't know how long, and they don't adjust the material and classwork and nothing. They don't do anything. So so these resources is our solution that we came up with. So from the chart, Ministry of Education, they give resources, right? And then these resources going to be distributed to teachers, and then teachers is going to teach student, of course. But that is the white line. It's just one, just one process that I mean, it happens naturally. You don't have to take any action to do it, to make it happen. But so these students, they need to take an exams. I mean, many exams for entrance to keep their score to apply to university and such. So what I want to give them more is more practice, because if you just learn in school and then you go into exam room, you're basically walking into a war without like having trained or anything, right? Like, okay, of course you get the sword, but you never learn how to use it. So these students, if they get more practice during like a homeroom, like just 1 hour in the morning, maybe like every Thursday, 2 months before the exam, that could be a lot of help. And one thing that makes this tutoring beneficial to students is that they they train their students a lot, and tip and tricks. Like the pressure in the exam room is, like you don't necessarily do your best in the exam room. So if you get more practice, then you can get more score. Uh, so let's take a look at the orange line. So teacher back to resources. Um, so this is what I want to do. So for private school teachers, when they come up with materials and stuff, they can and when they apply to the students, they get feedbacks, and those is one model for teachers to choose. So if we have so many teachers trying to test their materials and then get the feedback as like which group of student, like this material work best with which kind of students. Yeah. Okay. So that's gonna be very beneficial for other students to choose these materials from, other than just using textbook from Ministry of Education. And also, one thing I wanted to do is for students who has participated in tutoring. If they want to sell worksheets from tutoring, then they can sell it back to us, and we get it with maybe not much, because I mean it's a like they don't need it anymore, so at least they can earn some money out of it. But that's just a model that we plan to work on, and that's actually a startup in Thailand that my friend did. So I figure we can uh, maybe we can work together, right? Because our model is supposed to be free of charge, but this side of, I mean, this is not what we want to work on, but it's my friend's stuff. But yeah, so at least they earn money from that, and then they can get back to support it as like a more sustainable model. Like there's such thing as like no, because like if you want to give something to anyone, of course somehow it requires money. So I figure this side of business can support us as well. So we have talked about our project so much already. So our project aims to address the quality of Thailand education in short term by raising the standard of the resources that are available for teacher to use, by providing varieties of worksheets for teacher to freely choose from our cloud. So we basically gonna scan worksheets and material up into our cloud. Right now we use Google Drive, but in long term we probably need our own cloud and our website to be more like um, to be more easy to use. Um, yeah, like we need some kind of platform, but yeah. So in long term, of course, if we keep doing this and we get all the feedback and we rate the worksheets, it's gonna create a community of teaching communities that so they can improve their material, as well as just take it, like just borrow it to use. So that is free as well. So we have it's been 6 months, so we know some limitations of our project. So our internal factor is that limited time to work on this project during this pandemic, because everyone has to work from home, and it's kind of affects our members' time schedule. So we're supposed to have one more members, which is Bob. Uh, but yeah, because of that, because of work, he can't really join us. So that's yeah. And second is adjusting the model according to new information obtained throughout the project. So 6 months ago, it's one scenario, but right now some of the exams are changed, like for the entrance exam. So we have to adjust that as well. But we already upload those kind of resources, but they don't use it anymore. So maybe that's kind of I mean, it's a pity, but I think we can still use it as a practice for our students. Yeah, so that could be useful. And lack of manpower, of course, like this gonna requires a lot because we, of course, we want to impact like these high school students first because this is like a a junction before getting into university, but we aim for like long term we aim for like maybe sixth grade or 12th grade if it really works well, but right now we focus on three. So our solution for this is we need a team, like at least 5 members, to gather the resource and upload. uh, yeah, and this project would take around 3 weeks for initial phase, enough to launch the project. So um, yeah, so I'm thinking like 10, 10 to 20 form no, 10 to 20 materials for them for each subject, so teacher can choose from depending on their students capability. And for external factors, yeah, as I said, there's been a change on university admissions, and based on the interview, so uh, during this project we have like a need finding, right? So I went to interview public school teachers and private school teachers, and kind of want to see what they really lack of and what they want to see, what they need. So some of the teachers might not be interested in our project and they rather stick on the same way of teaching. So yeah, they just don't want to use technology at all. But this is what I thought even before the project started. Because like those teachers in rural area might not have used technology at all in their classes. So they're probably only like one computer room or maybe one or two computer each school in those very rural area. Uh, so I just thought if we upload to the cloud and they just print it out, that would be the simplest way to do. But even then, uh, they still might not be interested to try in our model. So solution is working with Ministry of Education would overcome all these limitations as we just force them to do it. just um, so we can only offer this opportunity to them. But if we want to make an impact, this would be ideal. Yeah. So where are we right now? We, as I said, we're still in the process of collecting and quality checking for our resources. So we need more resources. It's never enough for our project, but for our prototype, just enough to launch. We still in that process. So the first 6 month, that is the time. Like we still in the first orange bar. 6 months that I've been working with Carrie and Hannah. We've been getting feedbacks from Hannah and Carrie and via accelerator program as to how can we approach to the problem and project. So and during those 2-3 months, last few months, we have been collecting resources, and yeah, we're gonna be doing it for maybe 6 more months, and it should be ready to launch. And after that, it's gonna be pre-launch. so during pre-launch, it's gonna be like creating platform, social media, and website, something like that, and uh, and then after that, we can talk about that later. So launch and then post-launch is just kind of gain more audience about and to learn about project to learn about our project, yeah, and get into um, maybe maybe if Ministry of Education can see this, it would be really helpful. But yeah, we still don't have that connection yet. But at least during first 6 months, I've already contacted many teachers from my high school and tutor that I've really that I'm really close with to get their own materials to upload, yeah, as a prototype. Uh, yeah, so platform is gonna be social media and website and cloud. Now we're using Google Drive, but we still don't know about our budget because uh, I think we can calculate that after we get all the materials ready, like around pre-launch, I would say. Yeah. So that's it for our presentation. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask now.
Thank you guys so much for such a wonderful presentation. As Win said, we'll have time for 2 or 3 questions. You can ask Win and Shane directly, or you can put them in the chat box if you prefer not to ask the questions verbally.
Okay. I have 2 questions. Oh, Yuki. I think, yeah.
Please, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I will be next.
Oh, you want to go next? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So I don't know if you guys can see the chat, but Yuki says, can you talk about the teacher training process in Thailand? You mentioned that teachers receive materials and don't know how to use them effectively or adapt them for different kinds of learners. So she's curious on how teachers are trained.
Okay, so for teacher training, so usually those teachers, they go into like teaching major, like no, education major, right? So after that, I think they have like a camp for that. Shane, can you talk about that? Or okay, I can talk about it. So there's a camp for it's like a boot camp for teachers. It's non-profit, but uh, it's not from Ministry of Education directly, but they offer some helps and some budgets for doing that. And I think it takes about 2 years. And after that, I mean like 2 years when they're still studying in that major. But after that, they're gonna be stationed in public school or private school, depending on. I think they have to take an entrance exam for that and apply, and whether if they're gonna get accepted. So yeah, and you may.
I wanted to answer and then I close Zoom instead of turn on the mic. Yeah, so the training process is basically you study for the education major for like 4 years, and that's gonna what you study depend on your interest. If you want to be like a science teacher, you study like the basic of education and like how to teach science, something like that. And after that, you have to go teach in real schools for around 1 or 2 years, and you will get like the evaluation. If you get good evaluation, you will get like the teaching license. And once you have the teaching license, you have to go apply for the prefecture that you want to teach in. For example, if you want to teach in Bangkok, you apply for that, and then you have to compete among other teachers inside Bangkok and you can select you have like the preference of your schools. I'm not sure how many schools you can choose, maybe like around 5 schools. And if you get like really good grade, you can maybe get into like the first ranked school of your preference. If your score is so bad that you're not even inside those like top of your 5 schools, you will have to wait for like 1 more year, because like they only recruit once a year. And that's also like one of the problem in like the teacher allocation process. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Izimon, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah. So firstly, I like your PowerPoint slides. It's very, very clear and very attractive. So I like it. So good job, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have two questions. So the first question is that you will collect the materials from tutoring schools or students that they already have. So my question is that how will you make sure that these materials are useful for the students? So how will you make sure that these students really learn from your collected materials?
Okay, uh, so the materials that we've been collecting mostly is from tutoring school, because they have so many materials, right? And these materials are proved to be effective since those students they use this very same material and to get to score very high in the exams. So that's one thing that we think of that is might be effective. But of course there's limitation for that, because these students, they already have background, they have learned everything already technically, but they want to learn more, right? They want to practice more. So this might be the limitation of those resources, that if the teachers that if the teacher that selects these material to use on their students, uh, they have to choose depending on their background knowledge as well, and the process of how do I say this? So just depending on the class that they're teaching in. So this is why we need to collect more materials to be optimized for the classroom.
Okay. So thank you. So the second question is like your target is more on the teachers from the rural areas, so that so it will be helpful for them. So I also would like to know how will you make sure that the teacher from rural area are accessible to your resources, because they are technology based, right? So you also mentioned that um, they could not even use, or they don't know how to use the technology. So in this case, how will you make sure that your target group are accessible with your resources that you provide for them?
Right. So the rural area I'm speaking of course, that's what I imagine it to be as well. So, but in fact, they have. So even they don't have computer rooms. Okay, like if the school have computer rooms, then they have a teacher for computer for in charge of technology. So we can ask help from him to access to Google Drive and just print it out. I mean, this is the simplest way I can think of. That's why I choose to do this. But for those school that only have one computer for the whole school, only one, and internet access, of course, if they have like if there is one computer, I mean, uh, there should be someone who is able to use the computer. Um, I mean, at least one, but if not, then yeah, that's a very good point. Maybe we can send someone to print it out for them, to work together with them to assist them, like Carrie and Hannah did with us. yeah, that would be helpful too. Right. Thank you.
I'm just gonna make brief room for one more question if anybody has one, but if not, Dwight, did you have one? Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
Have you guys had any opportunity to look at what is being done in other countries? Because what you're talking of now, using the cloud, is a little bit similar to a really innovative program carried out by some recent university graduates in Japan who know a lot about Southeast Asia. And they tried out their idea in Bangladesh first, and it worked just incredibly well. What they did, they realized one of the big gaps, and when you were talking about this, is between those who can have private tutors or go to tutoring schools and those who can't. They talked to some of these lead private tutoring teachers, very famous people in many cases, and asked them if they would be allowed to videotape their tutoring lectures as long as this was used only in the countryside. So it wouldn't be cutting into their audience at all. And amazingly, some of these teachers said yes. They tried the idea out by going to the most remote village in Bangladesh that they could find. And I wish I could remember all of the figures, but they found a number of students who agreed to sign up to do all of the extra work for that. And the result was amazing. This was a village that had never sent anyone to a university before. The next year, 5 of those students got into the University of Dhaka, which is the best one in the country. It's like getting into Chula or Thammasat in Thailand. It's an interesting idea. I don't know what the possibilities are, but it might be something worth checking out. I don't know if I can find the details on that or not, but if I can, I'll give it to the VIA people and they can pass it on back to all of you there.
Yes, thank you. That sounds like a really motivating example.
Yeah. I just got goosebumps just now. so I've never looked into that because like I thought so initially how I came up with this is I think everyone knows MIT OpenCourseware that shares all the. I want to get into MIT but I can't, so I just use this instead. And the same old material that they use, of course, it's not the most updated, right? Because you need to pay a lot of money the version. But like, I mean, even it's the older version, it work as well. Yeah, the project you said. Thank you very much. Shane, do you wanna?
No.
Okay.
I'll go. Yeah, so I guess now is the time that I've been waiting for this whole meeting, was just to compliment this team. I mean every syllable of this sentence. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with the two of you and Carrie for the last 6 months. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your journey with us both throughout the process and in this presentation. We know you worked really hard, and we look forward to seeing what your team's growth as a social innovator and change maker. And I'm going to share my screen one last time because we're having so much fun sharing my screen. Okay. Yay. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. If you're interested in learning more about this team, VIA, or the Accelerator program, please visit us at viaprograms.org/accelerator. And share maybe our team. I don't know if you guys are willing to share your email addresses, but if anybody's interested in contacting them, contact VIA, we'll figure it out. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Really
everyone.
great.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.